Joining me now is Phillip Snyder with the Warner Companies, and for full disclosure, he's also my father. Dad, great to see you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Hi, Jeff. Good to see you again.
Yep, and happy belated birthday. Although I already said happy birthday, we celebrated, but happy birthday again, maybe is the
Well,
right
thank
word.
you. And to you also.
And thank you, thank you. Another year older and wiser. Okay, Dad, we're going to talk about disability insurance.
Hmm.
It's important what it is, its importance, what it covers. But let
Hmm.
me take a step back because a lot of people will say disability, disability, disability. Doesn't Social Security, if I become disabled, doesn't Social Security cover disability? What say you?
Sure, there is. There's an SSDI benefit that I'll say, may be eligible for. There are criteria that the Social Security Administration has, not only in terms of the nature of the disability, but your years of coverage, paying into the system. Those are factors that determine A, your eligibility, and B, the amount of benefit that you're going to receive if, in fact, your claim is approved.
Okay, so you got to go through this process. I would imagine that given Social Security trust fund challenges, that process is probably even more. There's probably even more scrutinizing.
Well, yeah, and you need to understand the SSDI benefits are long-term benefits. In order to be eligible to receive a benefit, your disability either has to be projected to last at least 1 year and or it's going to end in death. So those are the fundamental underlying criteria. If neither of those are valid in terms of seeking funds from the SSDI, it's unlikely you get paid.
Okay.
Having said that, it's a submission process, probably takes into about 8 months to get
Oof.
the process finalized one way or the other, but benefits are typically paid retroactive to the 6 month. So that's just a broad brush of how the system may work.
Okay, so waiting upwards of at least 8 months to at least get consideration. So let's fast forward to our topic today is why do I need, let's talk about Jeff Snyder. Let's talk about people like Jeff Snyder, modest person from humble beginnings. Why would I need disability? It's true, but why would I need disability insurance?
Well, you are effectively generating your own income. You're surrounded by some helpers, but by and large, you're the business. You're the driver of your income. So if in fact you can't work, where does your income come from? Your expenses may go down marginally, not as much as people anticipate, but where is your income? What's your revenue source from thereafter? Yours is totally contingent for the most part on you and your performance. So in the absence of that, it has to come from somewhere. It may come in small part from Social Security long term. It may come from savings, but by and large, if they're not adequate enough to sustain you, then you need disability benefits from a source, and that could likely be insurance.
So, so this is really about covering your bills. Let's separate it a little bit from life insurance,
Mhm.
because I guess life insurance is you're dead, so you're paying a beneficiary or a claimant, the
Mhm.
beneficiary. But how do I make that distinction? Because some people have watched the show, hopefully, and
Mhm.
they've heard us talk about life insurance. But how do you make the distinction between this disability? Are you just really insuring your paycheck?
Well, every case is different. First of all, if you have a lot of assets, you may need no disability insurance, or you may need a diminished amount, a small amount, just to make up the shortfall and to cover potential inflationary adjustments to your needs in the future. On the other hand, most people aren't in that position. Most people have to get up every day, go to work, and earn their pay.
Yeah.
And so consequently, it's just a simple mathematical calculation. What are my ongoing expenses? What are my variable expenses? What am I not anticipating that could be an expense? And what income do I have to cover it? Just
And would this be a benefit? I want to talk about where to get it in a second, but is this a benefit? Like people are probably watching this and they're saying, well, Jeff Snyder, he's in his early to mid 50s. You know, he's an old guy.
Mhm.
But are we talking, is it better to get this type of benefit early on in your career? So like someone who's 22 versus someone that's my age at age 53, 54.
Well, if we're talking, there are different types of products. Uh,
Okay.
we'll talk about that in a second. But if you're talking
Hmm.
about you directly purchasing from an insurance company, disability insurance, it's going to be more expensive to buy at age 50 than it will be at age 40, for example. Then again, if you won't pay the premiums from age 40 to age 50, but you also won't have the coverage. So I would say you should obtain the coverage as early as possible. Most individual policies that are purchased, one-on-one purchases, guarantee premiums at least to age 65. So once you buy the coverage, the rate can't change. And the benefits can't change. The only one who can make those changes is you as the policy owner. So you have a lot of control in that respect. But I think starting earlier is better.
Yeah, well, I can understand that because it's better to, just like the long-term care discussion we've had, the sooner you lock it in or you get it, the better off I think you're going to be, and your circumstances are probably better off
Well, you're more
earlier than later.
because you don't know what can happen in that hypothetical 10-year period. A lot can happen. A lot does happen to people. So
Yeah,
you
it's called
have exposure.
it. We're all playing in the game of life. All
Right.
right, so I remember when I was a W-2 employee, a part of corporate America,
Mhm.
small, large firms, there was an employer benefit
Mhm.
that covered disability.
Mhm.
Sometimes the employer paid it, and it didn't seem very robust. So is that the best way to go about getting the coverage we're talking about this morning?
Well, it may be, again, it's a function of individuality.
Hmm.
Depends on your circumstances, depends on your income, nature of your job, and so forth. For average people, that might be the best source.
Hmm.
When I say average, I mean people of normal means,
Hmm.
hardworking people and earn a salary every day. They're never going to be affluent. They're never going to have huge incomes, but they're going to manage their lives effectively. Um, that type of coverage through the employer is probably the best source, at least initially. You don't own that source. So if in fact you leave that employer, if you're then looking to your next employer to provide a comparable benefit if possible. But that's typically employer paid. It's typically benefits that would continue for long term to age 65, 67. It's generally a percentage of your base monthly income, not
Hmm.
including, typically not including bonuses or other financial incentives. So you can insure your basic income, let's say for 60%, that's the most typical percentage that these types of plans, group plans pay. Um, and the employer can pay the premium. That premium, that benefit, if the employer pays the premium, is taxable. So that 60% or 66 and two-thirds percent of your income is that benefit is going to be income taxable. Um, the employer, in some cases, the employer can impute the premium to you, and you have to pay tax on the premium, and that would render the benefit income tax free. So those are some variances in how to handle that, but that's group insurance.
Right, you're part of a pool. They I guess they rate it based on a hypothetical group of people. Um, let's talk about buying it from an insurance company. So I get something from the employer, and now I'm going to go out and I see I need, I may not be affluent, but I have a need for it.
Mhm, mhm.
What's the type of, is this more like term insurance where you don't build, or is it more like whole life where you build a cash
Now, there's
value?
typically no equity in a disability
Okay.
income product.
So use it or lose it.
It's a use it or lose it. Typically, there were in years gone by cash value disability policies. I think for the most part, that concept's gone by the wayside. Putting in extra money and kind of betting against yourself type of thing. You'll get cash back if you don't use the policy. But I think those things are, for the most part, gone by the wayside. So what you're doing is you're going to an insurance company. You're trying to buy coverage that supplements the coverage provided by your employer. You apply for the policy. You own the policy. You pay for the policy. If in fact the policy is needed to generate benefits, those benefits are income tax free. The problem is there aren't that many carriers selling the product one-on-one any longer. Some
Hmm.
will sell it on a multi-life situation where you're insuring, let's say, a group of employees 10, 15, 20, even it could be down to as few as three or hundreds of employees for coverage over and above the group plan, that those kinds of plans are more attractive from a pricing and from
Yeah.
an underwriting standpoint because they typically guarantee the issue of coverage. If you're one-on-one, you're applying for insurance, you're going to pay a high premium. They're not inexpensive policies, but you will own the policy. The rate will be locked in for your working years. So
Let me
that's how those things work.
let me ask you, just using me as a hypothetical,
Mhm.
when you say they're pricey, what would something like that be a month for
Oh,
me? I mean, obviously you haven't run any, we've not run any illustrations, but I mean, are we
no,
talking $150? Are we talking $600? Are we talking $1,000? Or is it just really based on what your paycheck will be today and in the future?
it could run in this. It depends on the level of the benefit, the configuration of the benefits, the elimination period before benefits kick in, the type of work you do, which executive type work tends to be less expensive to insure than, let's say, physical work, things of that
Sure.
nature. But it could run a meaningful benefit for you, someone such as yourself, could be a couple of $1,000s a year. It's not
Okay. So
inexpensive.
no, it's not what I was thinking, but
Mhm.
still, it's not inexpensive, and you gotta budget for that. I was just thinking about
Yeah.
that, and then I gotta close out because we
Mhm.
only have about a minute and a half left. But do I have to take a physical like
Mhm.
I do for life insurance or for other type of insurances? What's the process? I would imagine you also do illustrations to
Mhm.
show what things will be today, tomorrow, and in the future.
You meet with an insurance agent, a broker, an advisor, whatever the case may be. You determine what your need may be. You determine, then you look at a bunch of illustrations. That broker will probably look at a couple of different carriers and solicit illustrations. You decide which one you want to purchase, what the benefits you want to purchase. You apply to that insurance company. The insurance company underwrites the policy.
Hmm.
Typically, you wouldn't need an exam, although they could
Hmm.
ask for an exam, but they'll gather your medical records and go from there. Uh,
And
Go
and
ahead.
just kind of thinking about that, what if I have like Lyme disease? I'm just trying to think about some or ALS or something like that. Would that just blow up your coverage completely and you're
Well,
just
if you had Lyme's disease, maybe not, but if you had ALS, probably you wouldn't qualify for individual policies.
okay.
Um,
But you would still could you still get a group policy if you had one of these diseases?
if you're applying for under a group policy, they're all a group long-term disability dependence guarantee issue. It may have some pre-existing condition limitations, things that may not be covered for a
Yeah.
period of time, but by and large, you'll get the coverage. If you apply
And
for individual coverage on a multi-life basis, for example, if you're a lawyer in a law firm and we have 100 lawyers to insure, you could probably get $15,000 or more a month of this, maybe more of disability insurance, individual insurance, guarantee issue. So there's no underwriting and there's no pre-existing condition limits.
so someone who falls in the category, they're going for individually, they're not going to get approved because they have one of these horrific maladies.
Could
What do
be.
you do? Do you just find another vehicle to, I'm just trying to help people out maybe who may fall in this category because, it's possible.
You may find, I'll call it a special carrier in the marketplace that would
Hmm.
issue coverage but would clearly exclude your malady, maybe
Got it.
permanently, and or they may charge a higher premium for your policy than a standard risk might otherwise pay.
Got it. Yeah. I mean,
But you can
it's really,
pre-underwrite this. Any insurance agent or broker should be able to, who's been in this marketplace should be able to guide you and should be able to gather whatever negative medical information you may have and kind of pre-underwrite so you don't apply to a company and then out of the blue you get declined and then you have to start all over again. You should do that ahead of time.
yeah. Well, Dad, I was thinking as we're talking, I got to close out the show, but we should do a history of life insurance because I think that I'm not saying that you were there at the beginning, but
Look like it.
I think it would be pretty interesting to kind of understand how where the life insurance industry came from, just like I find it fascinating where the retirement industry and pensions
Mm-hmm.
and things came from. But
Mm-hmm.
we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks for making time. Thanks for pinch hitting this week and making time out of your wonderful morning. We appreciate it.
You can see the beautiful weather. All right,
Yeah.
Jeff, talk with you soon. Have a good day.
Well, thanks for watching. And don't forget, we're back again tomorrow morning with another great expert and another great topic. You can tune in right here Monday through Sunday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And don't forget to subscribe to our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse, for all the news in one place, delivered directly to your email box. Check it out at our website.